Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains, your favorite spot, the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. We are in Sussex today, in the UK, by way of South Africa, with our guest, Sanette Rabie. We were just talking in the green room about how strange the world is today. After COVID, just people have just come up out the ground. They don't know who they are. They don't recognize their identity, or they just become numb to the entire process. They don't take things seriously. They're a little bit more angry. And I don't even know how to communicate sometimes with the millennials because they're on a whole different frequency. But there is a thing called RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. I'm going to talk about that and hypnosis. Oh yeah, put the Spengali on you. Okay, I can take myself down. I have been doing that. I have been listening to hypnosis tapes to help me lose weight. And believe it or not, it's working, brains. So it does work. So hypnotherapy is nothing to be afraid of. It's not going to make you quack like a duck. It's not going to make you bark like a dog. It's not going to make you stand on your head. You can't do anything that you're not prone to do anyway. So don't be afraid of it. Lend yourself into it. It talks to your subconscious mind. They can do some neuro-linguistic programming. It's a whole lot of great stuff. But I want to talk about this RTT, because it's supposed to work pretty quick. So let's bring her to the edge. How are you today, Precious?
Hi, I am doing well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Tell my brains how you show up in the world.
Ooh, with regards to hypnotherapy and rapid transformational therapy,
Just
I
period.
just period, just period. Okay, so I am a rapid transformational therapist and hypnotherapist, and I love that part of my life because it just absolutely, I love helping people, and I specifically help people to find their voice and find their confidence again back. Um, and sometimes it's not necessarily even after a relationship. Sometimes it's just the way we grow up.
Right.
And you sort of grow up in a space where there's a lot of volatility. And I think in today's time and age, there's just so many things that do happen to people. And you sort of get in that place where you always like hyper vigilant. And that hypervigilance state almost creates like a codependency in relationships, which always ends you up in a, coercive behavior kind of place where somebody controls you and takes your voice away and takes your individuality away.
Well,
And
you
I,
know a lot about, well, and I hate to interject, but I want to
yeah,
I want to see how those two create a parallel. You say that hypervigilance, but also it creates a codependency because you saw that firsthand in South Africa, and it wasn't
correct.
a picture. There was the haves, the have-nots, there was the whites, there was the blacks, there were the corrupt, there were the affluent. So I get what you're saying when you say that because you were dependent on these people, no matter what, you needed the resources, the minerals, the security, the money, and your dignity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I take it to a personal level for me, is I come from a Afrikaans background. So that was and I have to say this up front, not everybody that's from an Afrikaans background has gone through what I've gone through, because it's always a personal experience within the dynamic of the family. Uh, but it has happened to many people from that culture. And again, it happens to all people from all cultures, right? So else we could have just contained it and say, let's just focus on this one little spot in the
Right,
planet, and we
right.
can, get rid of coercive behavior and of codependency and of narcissism. We can just chuck it all
Exactly,
into
exactly.
one
I live
corner
in
of the
America.
earth, right?
I live in America, and you don't have to tell me. We
Yeah,
stamp it.
you still it's there. So, for me, and I'm not going to tell the story out of a victim mentality, but because I've walked that journey, and I understand what it does to you. So I grew up in a very, very strict conservative culture.
Mm,
And in a culture where the man is the head of the house and everybody does what they're told. And the other side, so that was a thing that was in the culture and in the society. And on the other hand, and I'm going to say a religious influence. I'm not going to call it a biblical or a godly influence. I'm going to call it a religious
right.
influence because people will take literally what a certain part of the word says and enforce that down. A woman will be submissive, and all those kind of
Based upon their
words.
own interpretation, manipulation, and control.
Correct,
And
correct.
I tell people all the time, don't get it confused. Religion is the biggest
Two different
mind
things.
wash. Yeah, but it's the biggest brainwash that you can get. You have a
Absolutely.
personal relationship with source.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you. And I've always said throughout my whole journey, I've never lost that connection with source. I lost that trust with people. So there are two different things for me altogether. But also, with the culture that I grew up in, everybody could correct a child according to to scripture, right? So I was permanently bruised. I just thought that's normal. People would say, or my parents would say, "Oh, you just bruise so easily." I mean, it took me all these years to actually go like, I bruised easily because that's the way I was beaten as a child. I
That
don't bruise now, you know, I don't
I
bruise
get
now.
it.
So what has changed? You know, so this is just the background of where I grew up in. And growing up in that state of where you walk into a room and you just read people quickly and you sort of think, oh my gosh, who's gonna have a flash up? Who's gonna smack you? Who's gonna shout at you? How heated is the conversation? Should you remove yourself? Then you start to almost develop this personality of let me keep everybody happy, because if I keep everybody happy, I don't have to deal with this,
Right.
you know? Then you start to create that codependency. I will give up everything from me, all my needs, all my requirements,
Mm,
that what makes me happy, anything to keep you happy. Because if you're happy, there will be less flashpoints,
mm.
So
The aha moment. Absolutely.
Ah, absolutely. But growing up, you don't realize that you're just surviving, right? You're just making this environment work. So when you get into a relationship, you choose that same kind of person. So even though it's uncomfortable and you don't really want to have it, but it's so familiar that you don't know what else is right and what else is normal. So I've walked that path. And if there's anyone out there that's not quite sure what it means to be in a codependent kind of relationship, it's that feeling that you're constantly walking on eggshells. um you have to ask permission, or you have to check in with this person. Is it okay? I'm going to the shops. Is it all right? Can I buy that dress? Can I get some money to do things?
People,
And often, pardon?
people pleasing.
Absolutely, people pleasing, and you often apologize for things that you didn't even do, just to keep the peace. So these are kind of things how it shows up, and some of the things are just very, very subtle. It is you are working so hard to please that person that you completely forget about yourself. You give up your hobbies, you give up your friends. There's just no personal time and space for yourself. And while you're in there, you just don't really realize that. And I think, it you actually don't even have the headspace to go and think that something is wrong, because head is constantly busy, constantly trying to keep the balance, to make peace, constantly trying to keep somebody else happy, that you just really can't think. I had a person once say to me, and this was a pastor's wife. We were driving and I didn't take the correct turn off. And as I missed the turn off, she just said to me, "Oh, you have such a rebellious spirit." And today I look back and I think, I just didn't have the mind space to process everything.
Right.
You know?
You made me anxious because you were in the car. You made me nervous. It was all about,
Yeah, it's like
it wasn't
I'm
about me. But now you have progressed, and what brought you to RTT and hypnotherapy?
that was actually a journey that I took. And first of all, it was a journey for me of self-discovery. So only when I got out of my relationship, when I got divorced, I got to a place where I had that headspace to start to think about things. And I dug into every course that I could find, not just self-help courses, but just really to understand, how do I improve myself? How do I get to understand myself? Because I realized that I've lost so much of my own being in all of this. Um, and I realized that whatever I've been through, I cannot really point the finger to someone. I cannot point the finger to my parents, to family members, to the church, to whoever I was in a relationship with. Um, because the journey started with me. The healing process started with me. What they didn't do to me. They did it. And I could separate the two. I could separate the fact that they did it regardless of who I am, and I could actually step away and really dig into a deeper transformation for me. And that transformation was gradual. And I got to a point where I thought, like, I've done these courses and I've learned so much and I'm so excited. And then you realize, oh my gosh, it's just like peeling off one layer of an onion. And you realize there's other stuff I have to deal with.
But
So I just
but each layer that you pull back, you tear.
absolutely,
And people are
absolutely,
not willing to show their vulnerability. They don't want to say, I am a people pleaser and I am afraid. And, you know, realizing that I'm enough.
yeah,
And I don't need the outside influence to validate who I am inside.
nothing, nothing. You don't even have to, even if you're in the most loving, caring relationship. Yes, I know in a relationship there's like give and take. But the moment you have to give up you have to be in that place where you can go like, I'm not willing to cross this line. And that should be okay for both parties to say, yeah, okay, I see that. I can see this is important for you. If you can't have that, then something is fundamentally wrong. Then somebody is taking more than they are giving.
Right. But
Yeah.
that's not sexy. That's not
No,
attractive. Okay. It's not on
no,
trend that, you have to be the person that's posturing and pontificating, best hair, best clothes, keeping up with the Joneses. That is what society has deemed important. When you
correct.
see these fake images on social media, I'm so glad social media wasn't around when, I was a
Oh
young
my
buck.
goodness. Yeah, me too.
But what really fascinates me is how the kids just get sucked into it, and they get, okay, don't get me wrong. I work in social media and I do take my phone with me to the throne when I use the restroom. But these kids, that's how they interact. They'll be in the
Yeah,
other room and they'll text you. They won't talk. And they believe all of the things, that these images that they see and the conversations that they have with people. So it's really hard to identify with who you are authentically
right.
because you have all of this other stuff going on in the background. how do we, and I want to touch on that just for a minute, but with the younger people, and I'll say anybody 35 and between 15 and 35, that's a big age gap. How do we connect with them in a real way to say, you know what, you are important. This is who you are. Let's do some self-discovery and get away from all these images on the device and the bullying and all that. How do we connect with them in today's environment?
For me personally, because I have grandchildren, right? And one of
No,
them,
you got
yeah,
grandchildren. I
I
would
was
believe.
I was born in the 60s, right? Yes.
Wow. Well,
So,
you got one heck of a good moisturizer, because I would have never thought that. I would have really thought you were like in your 40s.
oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate. I'll take it. I'll take it all. Give it to me. So, anyway, before I go read, right? So, so my granddaughter is 14, and she has a incredibly strong self-image. If we talk about anything, if she says to me, you know, this girl did this or this boy did this, and her mom does the same thing, right? We would say to her, darling, they just hurt, they just struggling through something. Or, you know what? Yes, they are going to say these things to you because you know what? You are beautiful and you are clever and you are amazing. And so she doesn't follow the trends that people set out there. She's not stick thin. She's healthy. She does CrossFit. She is in the kitchen. She does her stuff, and she can talk about any subject, about anything at any time. And I think that thing of reaching the young people starts at home. It starts with the parents. So confident parents,
But the parents pay the bill for the device.
that's why I say confident parents creates confident children. We were born with a natural curiosity, a total everything in life is exciting, and there's so much beauty out there, and we go for all these beautiful things out of curiosity, right? A child doesn't get up and start to walk and think like, oh, I have to do the perfect walk now because they're gonna laugh at me. Just goes like, let me try this thing. I've done the butt shuffle a bit. Let me try this leg thing for a bit. Oh yeah, it works. When we go to school, we start to be judged on ego. Are you clever? Are you dumb? Are you beautiful? Are you not? Do you fit in? Don't you fit in it? And it becomes an ego thing to work with. And at that point, you start to see, okay, I fit in or I don't fit in. So how do I fit in? For me to fit in, I have to change what I look like, what I say, what I have, what I don't have, the brands I'm wearing. If we could just step back to that point where we take life in curiosity and teach our children to really just stay curious. Yes, we live in a world where people have to go to school and they unfortunately have to complete this whole curriculum. One of my grandchildren, my grandson has he's been diagnosed with dyslexia, and he felt very bad for it. So I took him and I sat him down and I said to him, look at all these successful people in the world that has dyslexia. You see the world in a different spectrum. It makes you more unique than any of the other children in the school. And then my daughter and I had a conversation and I said to her, okay, so the problem is he switches things around when he reads or when he writes. Ask the school for him to use a laptop. Nobody writes things down on paper anymore. Laptops will autocorrect his spelling because he knows what he wants to say. He just can't get the words together. And it took her a long time to get there, but the school has agreed to that. And he's doing wonderfully. And he still thinks he has the superpower of being dyslexic, which he does have, you know. So it all comes back to confident parents who really want to empower their children, not want to grow ego, but really empower their children.
Right. So tell us about RTT. What is it? How does it work? And who's the best candidate for that?
Oof. Anybody who wants to change their lives is the best candidate for rapid transformational therapy. So, rapid transformational therapy works on different levels. So, you work with psychotherapy, you work with NLP, you work with CBT, and you work with hypnotherapy. So, you sort of tackle the situation from different angles. And most of the things, I mean, I haven't seen anything that I can't work with or that we haven't resolved. Um, we have a bit of limitations with people with epilepsy and people that have psychosis or schizophrenia or bipolar, because obviously they're on a different spectrum and needs to have more medical assistance. But you really go into the subconscious mind, get to a total place of relaxation. So with hypnosis, is you sort of just cut out all the noise in the right brain, just all the analytical, the noise, the things that's going on around you, and you focus inwards. It's a bit like, you know, when you go to the movie and you walk in and it's daylight and you sit there and you eat your popcorn, and then something happens and you go like,
Right.
waiting for that moment, right? And then you eat again. That's what we do with hypnosis. We sort of cut out all the noise on the inside and just get you to focus inwards. And then start to ask your subconscious mind, at what point, where did the tag come in for this belief? Because, you know, we first make our beliefs and then you have a thought and it becomes part of who you are. It creates an action and it becomes part of who you are. So the moment we can understand what that subconscious tag is, we can rebuild that into a positive and give you the outcome that you really want to have in your life. And the moment you bring something from the subconscious up, then it's no longer a subconscious behavior, it becomes conscious because you are aware of it. So
So it
it's not
moves from the back of the bus to the front of the bus.
exactly. Goes to the conductor and go like, "Oi, I know you are here now,
But
right?"
what happens is you still got to move the bus. And when you realize that there is something new, you have to adjust to that as well.
Correct, because you have to teach your brain the new way of what you want to have, right? For that to become your subconscious behavior. So we go through the whole process of understanding what it is. We link those, and it's not me. I'm purely the catalyst in making the change, right? The client does all the work and the change because the client finds the connection of what the subconscious mind does and how it brings it into the behavior that the client has now that they want to change. And then we go through all the different phases and steps of first dealing with the different or with the scenes that has come up, and then we rebuild them and we reframe that. So part of the reframe is letting go of that, asking the subconscious mind to just let go and give a new good behavior. And then we do a recording to listen to for 21 days. So listening to
Now,
that,
wait. Let me pump the brakes right there because I am listening to hypnosis tapes for weight loss.
yeah,
And I'm on day 2 and I fall asleep, but I
that's
don't really fall asleep. Maybe I'm in a trance like state because it is still, it's like watching television. I went over to my girlfriend's house and spent the night over there. She can't sleep without the TV on. And I was like,
oh my goodness.
quiet the monkey mind. But when I'm listening to these hypnosis tapes, even though I think I'm sleeping, it is still penetrating and it's still
Absolutely.
saturating. And I'm like, okay. And then when I wake up, I feel, renewed. I feel refreshed. But when I do wake up, it's like I am snapped out of a trance. And it's really, really amazing. Do a lot of I don't know. I run across a lot of people now that are hypnotherapists. Give us some guidelines on who to look for, who to trust. Again, like I told you, Brains, you're not going to do anything that you're not prone to do anyway. But you still have someone pouring some NLP into you. You still have someone giving you suggestions. You still have someone watching how you respond and how you're triggered by certain smells, sights, sounds, whatever that is. So you have to trust this person as well. How do you find a person that could work well with you in hypnotherapy? What are the things that we should look for?
So first of all, what you look for is you look at, does this person have a qualification that is recognized by the international bodies? Is this person registered with the international body? Does this person have proper insurance? Is this person continuing their learning journey? Because it never stops. And then you see, does this person have the skill sets for what I require for me? And then, can I relate and connect to that person?
That's clear, because I had a person that tried to put me under, and I resisted. And she said to me, she says, well, our session wasn't very good. And I said, well, in all transparency, I wasn't very trusting.
That's the thing.
There was a blockage there, intentionally set up by me, because there was something I just wasn't vibing with.
Yeah.
And she got in her feelings. And I told her that it's not personal.
No.
At this point, you are, again, like you say, you're the conductor. I'm the passenger. And I didn't want to ride. I just didn't want to ride. And it's okay, you know, but that's not to say that I did not try that again. It's just like talk therapy. You'll go to a talk therapist and you'll sit there and you just don't connect with them. You don't want to open up with them. So people that you work with, Brains, if you run across a stumbling block, don't necessarily give up on that process. Try it again.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different modalities. There's emotional freedom technique, there's Reiki, there's hypnotherapy, there's psychotherapy, there's, you know, I tease all the time, there's ayahuasca. You want to do a psychedelic? We're doing psychedelic. But here in the United States, the mushrooms are about to be legal in California.
I heard. Oh my goodness, that's gonna knock you out of the park.
You know, it's bad enough you go to the dispensary to get some of this tainted marijuana, but right next to that, you've got these psychedelics. People are going to be out of their minds. They're going to be out of their minds because they don't know how to control these substances. But I had a guest that was on my show that told me something very fascinating. I didn't know that they're still doing shock therapy.
No.
They are still doing shock therapy. Now, I don't know to what degree. I don't think that they're, putting that bowl on your head with all those wires and you're doing all this jittering. I don't know what it is, but and she said that they're finding it very effective.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so it kind of scared me, but I don't know what level of pain an individual has to be in to go through that. But yeah, they're still doing it here. So let's ask some fun things about you, Grandma. I still can't believe you were Grandma. If you were an appliance in the kitchen.
That's a very good one. I would be the mixer.
I get everybody wants to mix it up. Why would you be the mixer?
Just because I love to put a whole lot of ingredients together and see what comes out.
I want to be the refrigerator because I just want to chill.
I like that.
If you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
What kind of car would I be? Oh my goodness. You know what? I would want to be my car. It's a
Yeah,
Mercedes-Benz SLK. It's an
yeah,
old model. It's cute. It's nice. 2 seats. Never lets me down.
I know. I want to be a VW Bug, like a 1970 hippie, free. You can make out in the back. Got music going on. You got the big
I
cloud on
didn't
the
think about
outside.
making out in the back.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm that kind of girl. What are some of your guilty pleasures? What are some of the things that you just, whimsical things that you love to do to honor uh, and please yourself?
Oh, things that I just love to do is I love to spoil myself. To book a facial or a lovely stone massage, or um, and to be honest with you, I love just to spend time with my daughter and the grandkids. We don't get much time together, but I love it when we are together because we just catch up on the most amazing things. But if it's just time for me, it would be a stone massage, hot stone massage.
Living in South Africa during apartheid, what is one of the most humbling things that you experienced, saw, felt, or shared with another individual that was struggling?
You know, I apart from what I told you about how strict my upbringing was, my parents, my I grew up with my stepdad, and he is from Holland. So I grew up in a household where there was no distinction between people. Yes, we had a lady that worked in the house. Um, if she had a little child, my mom would babysit for her, or because she's tired. So I grew up in that kind of environment, and also remember growing up as a child, you're not aware of apartheid,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just you don't even ask the question of why people don't live together or live in the same area. It was just never something as a child that came to my mind. But when it came to people, everybody was the same. And to me today, still, I don't care if you are a CEO or if you are the dustman. It's everybody is
Bus driver.
the bus driver, the bus driver.
I'm a bus driver today.
Everyone is a person. We all go through struggles and things. But I think to me the most humbling thing that I experienced is when the ANC came into power. I worked at a company in South Africa, and we had one African lady on the switchboard. Her name was Daphne. And I walked up to Daphne and I gave her a hug and I said, "Congratulations, girl. The ANC done it." And she was so happy and she was so excited. And when I looked at everybody else's face in that office, I thought, "Oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? You know, I couldn't understand what it was." And Daphne just burst out in tears and she said to me, "Sanette, you know what? You were the only person in this whole company that came to congratulate me." And afterwards, we went out for a dinner, um, in one of the areas that was more predominantly black. And it was just for me to see how happy people were. And and it sounds silly, but only at that stage of my life did I really see that split.
And it's not silly, but it's about exposure, because I've talked to several other brains from South Africa, and they say you don't realize that there is a dividing line because everybody in your community is black and they look a certain kind of way, or they're white a certain kind of way. There was not a lot of commingling. So
Yeah.
here in the United States, uh, unfortunately, people call you out,
Mm.
call you disparaging words, whether it's white or black, to try to show or flex their perceived power or influence. But the struggle is real,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, God is going to be the one that does the editing and the filtering and the shifting. And all of this other stuff is really a moot point.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the fun questions. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
I would be a giraffe.
It's the first time I've heard that. Why would you be a giraffe?
Because I will be high and I would be able to see everything.
And you know what? I love giraffes because they travel in a pack. They're
Yeah.
wonderful parents. They eat well. They're vegetarians.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never heard, as many times as I've been to the zoo, they've always been quiet. I've never
They
heard
are.
I've never heard them really kind of make a sound. You can hear them as they run. But you know, do they whinny? Do they snort? I don't know. Some of that.
I grew up in South Africa, right? Seen many of them. I haven't heard them make any
Really, I
noise.
don't know. So we'll have to look into that. Well, I want to be
Yeah.
a party animal. I told you I'm in that W bus making out in the back. Absolutely. Well, you have been a wealth of information and so honest and so transparent. Thank you so much for being here with me and my brains on the edge. Please tell them how they can get in contact with you. I know that you are able to work with them remotely. You're just a Zoom call away.
Yeah.
To really kind of find out if it's a good fit. If it's not, I'm sure that there are other individuals that you could refer them to or other
Yeah.
modalities because you're here to help. You're here to heal.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
tell our brains how to get in contact with you.
So when you contact me the first time, we will have a nice discussion and it's completely free just to see if we are a good fit, if I can help you. If you do feel comfortable with me, you can send me an email at info@srhypnotherapy.com, or you can visit my website at www.soulresponsehypnotherapy.com.
I'm going to put all of your information in the back of the interview so that we can reach out. Brains, I need you to do your homework. And you know what that is? This. I need you to love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Just like hypnotherapy, you got to repeat it so that it lands in your subconscious mind. Love, like, share, and subscribe. 3 is a winner, and you are a winner. Thank you so much for being here on the edge with me. You are the absolute best. You're so funny and pleasant. I wish you were here. Come to San Diego.
I will let you know.
Yeah, bring the kids. We'll all go to Disneyland. That'll be fun.
That will be fun. Thank you for having me, April. And this was so lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Sanette. You
Thank
are
you.
the best. Bye, Brian.
Bye. Bye.